There he is.
I guess.
So welcome everybody. Welcome, welcome. So good to have you all here. This is hmm, well, it's really a little meaning uh pointing at what doesn't come and go. It's always here. It's always present. And it's overlooked when we're in story, in thought. You could call it silence, presence, consciousness, awareness. And it's the only thing that's not a story. So ironically, all seeking in a way leads you away from this, right? Because I'm seeking because it's not here. Otherwise, I wouldn't be seeking it. But what if it is here, but I'm just not recognizing it?
But it can't be recognized, can it?
Well, yeah, you could say it's self recognition. It's you recognizing your true nature that doesn't come and go. And usually we're caught up in story in the mind in getting and achieving and more. And this is none of those things. I like to say it's already.
I like that. It's the quality of alreadiness, like a fragrance of already. You can't explain it at all.
I like fragrance. That's nice.
Mhm.
Mm. It's funny because the fragrance of a flower like a rose, it's not doing anything to produce that. And it's funny, you could walk right by a rose bush and not even smell it. But when you just stop and become present and take a big whiff, oh my God, have you ever smelled like a fresh rose? It's an explosion of,
Mm. And there's that kind of fragrant quality to each of the senses, isn't there? There's something about each of the senses that carries something indefinable but obvious or self-evident with it, you know. So seeing every now and again just goes from one thing into another, and the movement of it can't be explained, you know, all that movement. Yeah, it's not even a movement, it's just a disappearing of the conceptual field into what's direct, or what's not fantastical, as I like to say. It's not in the imagination.
Yes.
It
Yeah,
just suddenly.
that's beautiful, Paul. I like to call it, it's this like the screen of imagination, and we don't notice it because all our attention's on the show, on the
Mm,
imagination, like the old movie theater and the screen. We forget all about the screen because we're so involved with the movie.
mm. I was talking to a friend once, and he was a big weed smoker, and he was at the time smoking this big joint, and he kept saying something, and I was like, no, that's just thought. And he says, no, because I've got to go tomorrow. I says, no, that's thought, that's imagination. He was going, no, but tomorrow I'm leaving. I was going, no, you're not, that's just imagination. And something stopped for a moment. And then the next thing, it was like my perception was that somebody turned a spotlight on inside a 360 cinema, and everything just lit up, but it was like a defined dome of experience. It was like, oh, this is the edge of consciousness right now. It was just like, you know, it was really, really bizarre. But there was this clear distinction in that moment, and he saw it for a second too, and then he was too far into his weed to be able to comment about it. But
Yeah, I would say it's just that we're not used to being present. In a way, no one sat us down and, when we were little and explained to us,
yeah,
well, actually, you're not really your thoughts. They'll seem real and they'll feel real, and you may even feel separate, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's not the actual.
yeah. I have two grandchildren, and my nearly 8-year-old grandson he stays with me every second week for about 4 days, and I homeschool him, and we have these conversations. And he said to me one morning, he said, Grandpa, just as you're falling asleep and the virtual reality switch is off, he said, what really happens then? And I was just like, wow. And then I said, right, so are you talking about the time like the body will kind of jiggle a little bit? And he goes, yeah, it kind of, you get a prod to kind of say the VR's going off. And I said, oh yeah, that's the brain about to put the body into paralysis so that you don't dream walk. And oh, right. But we have these amazing conversations where he said to me this week, when I die and I reincarnate, I'm coming back as a bird, because birds have it so easy, it's so free. And
Yes.
and I said to him, well, I said, when I come back, I said, when I die, I'm going to reincarnate as your grandson. And I said, and I'm going to slap your bald head every day when you and you could see in that moment, he was he was dealing with this idea of him being me, and and he was like, he kind of realized the possibility, in imagination. It was just like fantastic. Yeah.
How old is he?
He's nearly 8. Yeah.
Wow.
And he has imagination that is just, it's off the scale. He's incredible. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a group called Supertramp that was huge when I
Yeah.
was growing up in the 70s, and they have a song called The Logical Song. And if you haven't heard it, There's a really high quality recording on YouTube, and it just lays out that as children, we were all curious and imaginative and playful, and everything was new and fresh. And
Oh, is it like when I was young and my life was so miserable?
no, no, not
Or
miserable.
something like
No,
that.
no, magical.
Oh,
Oh,
magic.
I know the one. Yeah, yeah.
I guess that shows a bit about me. Okay. I mean, magical, yeah, dude.
Well, his point in the song, and yeah, it's definitely worth listening to with the lyrics, is we get unknowingly, we get put in boxes, you know, you're told what you are, you're told, how society works, you're told all these things. And that innocence that we all are, a baby naturally is, gets kind of covered over. It's still here, but suddenly the logical mind kind of takes over. So there's nothing wrong with the mind. I just want to emphasize that. There's nothing wrong with thoughts. Mind's going to mind and thoughts are going to thought. The confusion is when we identify as the thought. That's the suffering.
Even it's uh like when identification happens, even
Yeah.
like we, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point, Casey, because nobody's doing the apparent identification. That's just what's happening.
Something's trying to identify, I can feel it. It's like
Well, this is the good news, right? Because you can, once you kind of sort of get the hang of this, you can let your thoughts, like you see them kind of in where before you would like kind of get on board with them. Now it's like, I'm good. But it's like we're so used to giving thoughts attention. Um, thoughts live off our attention. And unwittingly we can, but what happens when a thought is no longer interesting to you? It like has no effect on you, right? If somebody like asks you about something and you're just not interested in it, oh, we're playing badminton tomorrow. Do you want to come? I'm good. So it's just noticing that life does itself. Everything is on autopilot. Every thought, every feeling, every emotion is already taken care of by life. Is
Something
life.
that sorry, something that hit me hard the other day was um, how direct, how obviously direct this is. When you just sudden recognition, it's like, well, there's nothing indirect. There's nothing on pause. There's nothing. Wait, it's like it's just this is it. It's so intimately already, and yet there's the in the you could say in the movement of thought or in the movement of the process that ends up being thought, we don't we just overlook that. We just step over directness. It's like,
Hmm.
oh no, not that, and we just take that step forward as if it's closer to who I already am, but it's a step further away.
Yeah.
And then what's the difference between direct and not direct? You
Well,
realize there is
that's a good
no.
question. I would say that not direct is when you have a mediator, like a thought. So it's indirect. Anything you know through a thought. If I say, a bag of chocolate chip cookies, there are no bag of chocolate chip cookies here. It's indirect. You have an image, maybe a
Yeah,
smell, whatever, a taste, but it's not really here. So that's
no.
indirect. What is actually here that doesn't require a thought?
Yeah, the this was the point of the question, was that what is the difference between direct and indirect? In reality, or in actuality, there is no difference.
Hmm.
The difference is a word, the difference is a concept, the difference is a thought. To suggest that indirect is real in any shape or form
Yeah.
is a thought. So it was that, so it wasn't actually asking the question so much as the answer was arising as the question. It's like there is no difference between direct and
Yeah.
indirect.
Yeah. They're both beautiful. Yeah, you're right, Paul. They're both concepts.
Yeah, yeah.
Boom. There it goes. It's all just
That's it.
concepts, actually.
Yeah. It's all just
Word
languaging.
language. Yeah.
Like, I hate to, some people may,
Do it.
non-duality is a concept.
Yeah,
Another one.
yeah.
Yeah.
I went through a long period where all words had no meaning, and it was just, and everything was, I was on one side of the coin that was empty and bereft of meaning and of emotion and of, yeah, that it was miserable. It was miserable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's this, there's that sudden, well, hey, hang on a minute, where there is meaning here. There's meaning rising as well, but you
Oh,
know, no one's meaning it.
Yes. Yeah, beautiful.
Perfect.
There is
Oh,
meaning can appear, but it's nobody's meaning.
Mm, yeah. I like words. That's the thing. I like. I write and I do a bit of poetry and stuff, and I
oh,
like words.
nice.
And I can share a little poem with you if you want.
Oh, love it.
Please.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Would that I am by no mere mortal standard be, perceiving perplexity unbound in perpetuity, a paradigmatic preponderance for predestination, ramblings of insignificance, met only with indignation. Free from what, you ageless beguiler? You had no cage in which to defile her. Liberty means naught to such as me. Forsaken I am not, forever I am be.
Beautiful. Lovely.
Thank
Nice.
you.
That's all we have is words. So this
Yeah.
it's our palette. Music, song, color. When, the thing about seeking, and I did it for decades and had a huge non-duality library and, all of it. But the simplicity of just what is, when that burden of looking for another moment,
Mm,
the burden of needing this to be other than it is, when that goes away, then suddenly there's just playtime. Suddenly you're now all that energy that was spent seeking and worrying and fearful is freed up to just to play for no reason, for no point, to make
yeah.
no difference. And for a lot of us, especially spiritual types, our identity could be tied in with wanting to help make the world a better place. And that's understandable on one level. But again, life doesn't need, it's got it covered.
Life doesn't need you. Life doesn't need you. Yeah, it's so funny.
Well, it is kind of, the ego is pretty funny. It's like, here, God, hold my beer.
That's a great, that's a great ego.
That's a
Like,
t-shirt
thing.
one, that
As
is.
a
That's
t-shirt.
so good.
Yeah.
I got this. I got it. You
Yeah.
sit back.
Yeah.
Sit back.
Yeah, life doesn't need you. Life doesn't need, life doesn't. Life just does.
Well, it kind of explains the suffering because when
Yeah.
I'm not there, constantly thinking, judging, reacting, worried about the outcome, when it's just what's happening, it's just notice it's doing itself. It's so much lighter.
Yeah.
In my story, there was for at least 15 years, there was really gross suffering. I mean, really obvious depression and, really big, deep kind of emotional experiences. And then the next 15 years, it just got lighter and lighter and lighter. And then there's periods of the whole thinking process is quieter, subtler, and um, things don't affect me in any way, shape, or form as they used to. But there's stirrings or echoes of it all, but there's no substance to it. It's there, but it's not there at the same time. As
Beautiful.
you say, it's almost an invite. It's like, do you wanna get into this and really feel what it's like?
I'll pass this time.
Paul, during those 15 years,
Yeah.
were you just, excuse me, just living the way you were 15 years ago, whatever you were doing, and you just kept doing that? And then this happened, or did you do something, read something?
Yeah, I mean, it was seeking. I'd been seeking from such an early age, but didn't know that.
Mhm.
So I was in my mid 20s, probably 26, 27, when I read Autobiography of a Yogi. And I mean, from that point on, everything was different. But from then, I became aware of my suffering, and it became worse.
Mhm.
It was like, oh, I want to be that. Oh, I want to be that. And yeah, it was horrible. The last 10 years, I think I was thinking earlier, 9, 10 years, they've been marked by huge moments of clarity. The first time I ever practiced vichara, having read one of Ramana Maharishi's, it was a quote actually by him. I just sat down to meditate, and then I woke early in the early hours of the morning, probably 3 o'clock, to this space of, wow, there's only consciousness, there's only me. It was like, and it was like, I can't wait to tell my son. Oh, I don't have a son. And I was kind of looking around, and I've had these, yeah, I probably had 12 of these moments of clarity, each one revealing an aspect of this that I hadn't seen. So each one was brand new, but then I hung on to it. It was like I was fishing for them. I just got the hook in there, and then I was on that. And that constant referencing to what the imagination had captured and stored as a memory of something wonderful that I should be, kept me in a place of suffering, but also a place where the suffering began. It just got lighter because there was some I don't know what the word would be. There was some satisfaction in it. you
Yeah.
know it was like, yeah, I'm getting closer. And then that would be a little bit lighter.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a wonderful parody of imagination. But yeah, I mean, sublime. That's the thing. When you really see it for what it is, it's so sublime. It's so sophisticated. I mean, what else would there be if there isn't suffering?
Just this, and shit.
Just this,
Yeah.
which includes suffering beautifully. Yeah.
Mm.
I did have a moment. I went through. I was in the services, military, so for 20 odd years, and the my life was about pain. I carried it all in the body. I feel the world through the body. I don't have a strong visual imagination. It physically thoughts appear, and I can feel certain areas of my body tense up. I feel it, really much. But I went through a suicidal phase, and I think the third attempt was the closest one. But there was this moment where I knew I was about dead. It was like, yeah, my heart's really slow, and I'm really cold, and I've lost a lot of blood, and it's like, yeah, I'm going. And I was really comfortable with that. And then there was a sudden flash of I was in a hospital. They're going to come through the door. They're going to see you save your life. And I knew in that moment that's what was going to happen. It was like, oh, and I just went, I'm such a failure. I can't even kill myself. And,
Fucking
it was,
ego.
yeah, I was like, just let me go. And I was so in that place. And then everything was just totally silent. And there's my voice in my head kind of says, who is the I that's trying to kill the self? And I was like, I don't know what you mean. And it's like, well, who is the I? And then the question, it's like, well, I don't know who that is. And then the answer was, well, which one's the failure? And I
Yes.
was like, whoa. And then all of a sudden, this kind of my thought came back and it's like, look, Paul, it's not your life to take. And that hit me with all of the gravity that you can imagine. It was just like, and as it did, I took this breath, the door opened, the lights came on, and they did literally save my life in that moment.
Uh-huh. Wow.
Yeah, and I went on from there to write a book, and yeah, it just from that moment on, it was just like, this isn't my life. It's got nothing to do with me. Yeah, it was pretty incredible.
Did it feel like relief?
Um, yeah, it did. Yeah, it felt like I walked in literally carrying the world, and walked out having left the
Yeah.
world behind. Yeah, yeah.
Wow, man. That's a crazy
But
story.
then, I automatically built a whole persona and story around that. And I didn't suffer so much with that story. That was wonderful. I didn't really share it for years. I must admit, it took years to really understand that physically as well and emotionally. But now I see it's such a beautiful story in that sense.
What's the name of your book? I want to read.
Hypnotized to death. Yeah,
Hypnotized to Death?
yeah. And
Ooh.
then there's a subtitle or secondary title, Transcending Freedom.
Mhm.
But yeah. It's I think my big thing was letting go of the story, really, really letting go of the investment that I put into making me the best me from, a traumatized boy from what we call the council estate, where you've social housing, that violent upbringing, all of that, then into the military. And, it's like, yeah, I've done so well.
I've noticed that like the story of always growing is crazy because like it's just crazy how many people are into that. Like I hear my brother talk about that where he was talking about his new wife and he's like there's kind of a sadness to his voice. Like he's kind of doesn't want to be doing all this stuff.
Mm.
But at the same time he's like, at least I'm growing as a person. And like some part of me just knew like he's kind of just making it up a little bit. Like I don't know. maybe he's learning how to work harder or something, but sometimes it's just like kind of an over dramatic thing of I'm growing, and that's kind of how you get through like doing shit you don't want to do, I guess.
Yeah, that's a permission slip, isn't it? It's like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm being a better person. There's my permission slip to do what I feel is good for.
Yeah. I use that permission slip often.
Permission slip, after all. Why would you not use it? Absolutely.
That's
Use
it. Yeah, totally.
that.
Get with the program, man. It's called permission for a reason. Just get on and do it. Stop whinging. Yeah, it's I mean, the indoctrination of education of everything is it's not so subtle anymore, is it? There comes a point when you go, oh, wow, we're so forced out into the world to objectify it and see that there's someone doing well and that you're always the at the other end of that scale. And I've met people that will talk about that as duality. Oh, that's the duality of life, and it's like, no, it's not. It's not actually. That's not. That's just one aspect of it. But it's just not heavy anymore, as you say, Michael. It gets lighter.
I've noticed that when I was at my, sorry, Don, I'll let you talk after.
Oh, go ahead.
When I was at my graduation ceremony, it was just crazy because like the whole beginning was like my mom was like, it's like a chat GPT made this. And it was like so about like, oh, the journeys you will go on path and the journeys and how you will grow and all these different things and how much you've grown in high school and how you're gonna conquer the world. And I was like, oh my God, I couldn't keep singing. It was so boring. It was just like, oh my God, it's a bit so boring. What were you saying, Don?
Uh, when I look at my life, what's led up to here, and all the conditioning that was put on me, it's like that was in that moment that was life expressing itself, and so in that way, it's always been perfect here. This has always been perfect. And even the not seeing the perfection was perfect. It was all just like nothing to blame, nowhere to go, nothing to blame. Just, I don't know.
Love that, Don. That's wonderful. Absolutely.
And it seems like then that compassion naturally arises from that kind of seeing.
Mhm.
It's just a natural compassion for, oh, whoa, like for everything,
Mhm.
even the things you despise and hate, and even that, like, because the compassion is natural. It's not, I have compassion for you. It's just a natural compassion that comes out in seeing that everything is sort of okay as it is. I mean, in the moment, I'm just in my mind, just looking at the political scene, which can really make me nuts. And when I'm attached to it, but when I see it as when I'm more here, it's like it, it's exactly what's supposed to be happening. It's very beautiful, and it's like, well, what can I do? Because I still want to do something with that. But what I can do if I see it as okay, and the great thing, you know, the great consciousness moving through it, in it, as it. What is natural here is to go embrace it. Do you know what I mean? First of all, from here, just energetically, but then to go into the political scene. And I can see it right here. It's like I could go to some of these people that I hate in one moment, but when this compassion is just coming out, and again, it's not me being compassionate to them. Like, oh yeah, I understand you. It's not that. It's just, it's like compassion itself through me.
Compassion for yourself to let
You know,
it out,
yeah. And
let out the pain.
yeah. So it's like really,
Yeah.
it's indestructible. And the compassion that I'm seeing is like, it's indestructible. It cannot be destroyed. It's undestroyable.
But isn't that the same for the hate? I mean, the hate is it's just there. It's not you being hateful. It's not you being compassionate. It's just hate arising as an experience. And there's just compassion arising naturally. And we can draw distinction in them only through language. But the reality is that they're both equally beautiful. But even that's too far because that's just language.
It's crazy. Crazy. It's my mind again.
Yeah,
It's funny
when you
So
yeah,
hell.
sorry, Doctor.
That's good.
when you
If
said
you've got
hate, as
yeah,
hate comes up. Oh, go ahead, Paul.
yeah, no, I'll just say, what is the difference between hate and not hate? Look at it's the same. It's just a concept brought to life and given energy and emotion for this journey. For what reason? Who knows? Why? There is no knowing. So
That flips me out. I don't like that. I mean,
Good,
it makes sense to me. It makes sense. Okay, it makes sense, but it's like, no. I mean, boy, the resistance that comes up here is like, God, whoa.
Yeah.
It's like I'll go over there and choke you now. Before I was filled with compassion. Now I'm going to choke you. So maybe that's it, right?
Wow.
Don't you? Oh my God, you got me. You got me.
Don't forget, Don. That's it too.
Yeah.
That's it too.
Yeah. But that goes, it goes a lot lighter when you can see, when you even see, when you see that. It's like, oh, hang on a minute. Yeah. That distinction between compassion is so great and light, which is naturally arising, by the way. It's still just a natural, effortless and choiceless, apparent whatever, who knows. But the point being that see the distinction and then see the resistance to the distinction and see what's going on there.
What's interesting, Paul, is even like eventually the resistance to the story faded too. And so there'll be times where I'm full on in a story. Yeah. There's a lot of hate coming out.
Yeah.
And then, maybe it'll come and go quick. It'll reoccur a lot of times, but there's nothing holding back anymore. It expresses.
Yeah.
And it doesn't want to hold back like a kid. It's just like, rah.
Yeah. It's just smoke, isn't it? It's just it's just mist. It's like it's there and it can be you're free of it, it's like, whoa, there's anger. That was anger,
Yeah.
Like, you could say that thoughts aren't wrong, they're just empty.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that can be noticed more and more.
Yeah.
The emptiness of all thoughts.
Yeah.
It's crazy because like everything is that emptiness. Like literally, what else would it be besides that emptiness? What other kind of substance in this universe would make up anything besides fucking emptiness?
Only emptiness can make up something because it's so bored of itself.
Yeah. Yeah.
So long now.
I mean, if you think about it too, there's nothing really outside of what your brain creates too at the same time. Like it's all just a projection of this almost play of whatever of itself just playing out all the brains creating a little reality for themselves almost that work together, but it's all one thing.
Yeah, it's like a quantum biological quantum computer. It's just light, isn't it? It's just
Hmm.
light
Uh,
slowing down and speeding up, and
I like how you said that, Paul. It's just light.
yeah, I mean, it's just everything, isn't it? It's like, whoa, you can't. Yeah,
So it's like, what is that? Like, what is light? You know,
yeah,
what is sound? What,
yeah.
you know,
Same
what?
thing, actually. You just speed it up and it turns into light. It's like all radio
Oh,
waves,
yeah.
Oh
wave,
wow, I didn't know
light,
that.
sound, X-rays, like
Yeah,
all the same frequency.
yeah.
Radio waves, definitions, words.
Yeah. So this takes the solidity where when we're believing our thoughts and suffering, you know, it definitely felt very heavy, you
Mm,
know, self-obsession is very heavy. And I was like you, Paul. For me, it was hair on fire for
mm,
freedom. It was all consuming.
mm. Yeah, it burnt mine off.
Oh, I love it.
That was funny.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was insane for this seeking ever since I was 15 years old, or beforehand. But when I found spirituality at like 15 years old, I was like just full on intensity. Like I starved myself. I did all this shit just to like I didn't even know where I was going, but yeah. It feels like it exactly makes sense why I found non-duality and why it resonated so much because there was so much of at the same time a resistance to that intensity, but I didn't really know it, but something didn't want that anymore.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty heavy, pretty early on. That's awesome, though. Someone was like, "Fuck this." What? Or
Yeah.
it's great.
Yeah, not that the time matters, but considering that you're only 18, 3 years is it's pretty amazing.
It
Mm.
felt like a while because if you think about it, it's like a big like 15% of my life or some shit. I don't know. Like
Pretty old, yeah. 18 and
So this that sees time is ageless.
Mm.
That's beautiful. I love that.
So the thing that sees time is ageless, but also what it's seen is ageless. There's no separation there. So that which it is seeing is it. So
Yeah.
yeah, what's
it's
age?
all beautiful, man. It's all like, that energy. Paul's talking about going faster or slower, which I love when you said that. But it's just the one thing, so to speak, where there's not anything different. However you say
It's
Hell yeah,
age.
Don.
I like that.
it.
It's
Yeah.
matter. And you mix time in and it gets weird.
Oh, whoa.
It's lots of concepts. Concepts, it's okay. Matter and time. Anything new. You mix time in and it gets much more mature and sophisticated and much better. Quality dog.
Well, it's not
Well
normally
said.
seen that time is a concept. I mean,
Mm.
it's so funny that twice a year we remove an hour and then put it back for daylight savings time. What the hell?
Yeah.
And
That
life
was
goes on. Life just goes on like that. Take an hour and we don't even notice barely.
I remember the memory of time collapsing was, is still quite a strong one. I remember I was just lying in bed meditating one night, and it was like, hang on a minute. If everything's just now, then if there's no time, there can't be any space. There can't be an over there because you can't travel. There's no movement. And it was just like when it just collapsed. It's like, oh, there is no, oh. And it's just okay. You wanted to see what it's like there. You can see what it's like. There is no time, no space. And then there was this sense of everything just that was the sense of the movie, the projector, where there's one scene and then it's replaced as it appears, it disappears to replaced by another full scene with all the story and all the meaning. It's like, here it is, so here, and it was just suddenly seeing how reality is just, these movie scenes, but the scene itself is like infinitely dimensional, and you can't grasp it or anything. It's just like, yeah, a total mind fuck. This is such a cool group, by the way.
Thank you, Paul.
I've been watching for a while and thinking I'd really like to get to um just spend time with you guys, because it's so refreshingly honest. And I don't it's not just to criticize other stuff, but it's just this is just beautiful. There's a energy about this that isn't present um in anything else. And I've been in different communities, and it just gets into you end up in a framework of language that's being led, and you're being guided by it, and then you take it on
Yeah.
board as if it's your language. It's like, that's it's yeah,
Meet you, Paul. Glad you came.
this is
Yeah.
just awesome. Yeah, you're just so it's just that word beautiful. I hear it all the time, and it's like, but when you guys say it, it's yes, it's like you're living that word. It's like, oh, that's beautiful. It's like I can feel that beauty in the expression, in the whole thing. So I love that. And because I do feel through the body, that's the big thing. It hits there, and it's like I can feel it now. The whole heart is just going, oh,
Yeah.
this is so,
Yeah.
beautiful and cool. Yeah. So yeah, I went to sleep and then set my alarm at 5 to 2 because it's 2 a.m. It was 2 a.m. when we started. I thought, I'm not missing this. Meet some wonderful people.
Much
Yeah,
love.
well, you fit right in, Paul.
Yeah.
I take that as a massive compliment. Thank you very much. That shows just how wonderful you guys are.
It's so soft here. Like a lot of other
Yeah.
places, there's a lot of arguing and just trying to find the correct languaging. I never feel good in my body when I'm there. I get kind of bored and like
Mm.
start dazing off. But here it's like we're all just friends first and foremost. And I
Mm.
love that.
Mhm.
So soft.
I think that for me, one of the greatest rewards, once as like Paul Hedman would say, once you travel lighter, is that when you meet people, you're not there with that story anymore. So it's just like, oh, here we go. And so you can
Yeah.
connect. Like, it's just such a raw and powerful level. You just don't need that story at all. And in some ways, the story kind of comes into, you know, I don't know. It's not sticky. Nothing sticks. Nothing sticks.
Yeah, well, beautiful, Paul. And you may notice, all of you, that it's meeting people and it's more open now because you're not self-obsessing like
Mm.
before. So you're open and available just to be present. And people love that. Like just being present,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
underrated.
Yeah, I mean, I used to, I was one of those that used to argue and scream a lot a few years ago when I was doing Michael's thing here. If you remember those days, and there was a lot more screaming and disagreeing and, that kind of stuff going on. And so I think, I mean, it seems like Michael's meeting here for me has evolved like beautifully over the years. And the way I look at this isn't just like it just happened per se. I mean, it's just happening, but all the work and commitment that's been put into this meeting from Michael and the other people who've been participating and working it out and struggling or whatever we're doing, it's come to this. And so it's like this moment stands on every moment, even if it's only one moment. I mean, however you want to look at it, but
Mhm.
it's all it's just very beautiful. What can I say? Because maybe what I said makes sense, maybe it's not true, but whatever. right now right now right is beautiful because it's it's happening
Mm.
here now. And this is beyond human, what we're doing right here.
Yeah. It already is. It already is.
It already is.
I'll give you an analogy. So I wrote a book about motivational speakers about 20 years ago, and I interviewed Tony Robbins. I don't know if you guys remember Tony Robbins.
Yeah.
And I had interviewed Wayne Dyer, Mark Victor Hansen, and Jack Canfield, who did the ubiquitous at the time Chicken Soup for the Soul books
Yeah.
everywhere. And I was lucky enough to have two stories in one of their books. And, it was an attempt to become positive, to become the best me I could be, the most, you know, um, kind of like the power of positive thinking. You
Mm.
just need to see it and achieve it. And I recommend you try that so you can see that at least here the futility of trying to make things happen, personal will.
Yeah.
And so when I was with Tony, it was actually in Texas. He was famous for a thing called a fire walk. And normally they're 10 feet long, or 10 yards, but this one was a 50-foot one. It was really long, and you're barefoot, and the flames are coming up, and they got like African drums beating, and it's in the parking lot at the hotel. It's a big deal. And I think there was like 400 people there. And so after a week with Tony, we did the 50-foot firewalk, and a group of us were sitting around going, because Tony was all about like breaking through your limits, pushing past. So we're like, well, how can we talk a 50-foot barefoot firewalk? I know, let's go skydiving. So a group of us, about 8 of us, rented, I guess, a plane, went to the place where you can skydive, and it's called tandem, where you're like hooked to the guy, like almost like a kangaroo, like you're in the pouch and the guy's on your back, and he has the parachute. Um, so the first thing I asked him if was he in a good mood, which, if he's got the parachute, I want the guy to be. But he was, and we go up there, and I got to tell you, I was pretty calm until the friggin' door opened on the plane,
Yes.
and you hear the wind going shh, and he goes, "Now, when we get out there, you're gonna grab the strut, and then on the count of three, you're gonna let go." And we go out, we inch out onto the wing of the plane. I'm holding the strut and I'm looking down and I see ants on the ground, but those aren't ants, those are cars. And there were dots. The dots were the people. And my heart was like, ba-bum, ba-bum, every, in slow motion. One, two, three. My hands did not let go of the plane. He fell back and ripped my hands did let go because he fell backwards. And I'm not ashamed to admit, I screamed like a little girl. I was screaming for my life. Ah! And and he was grabbing my head and I didn't know why. He was trying to get me to look up at the camera because they film it and then they sell you the video at the end. But I was so freaked out. I was almost like in the fetal position screaming because you're falling and suddenly it dawned on me that I didn't need to scream. Like halfway down, as the chute began to deploy, I said, I could actually enjoy this motherfucker.
You're dead no matter what when you hit the
Yeah.
ground.
So I did. Now the chute opened, although it hurts in the crotch if you're a guy. The stop
Oh,
is
shoot.
a bit abrupt. I wish he had warned me. But it was so deathly quiet as we flew in the canopy as it descended down. And the second half of that was so peaceful. It was day and night. And I remember thinking, I wish I knew now, when I had gone up in the plane, because I would have enjoyed the whole thing. I wouldn't have been so freaked out. But I had to go through the freaked out part to find the peace.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Love you, Michael.
Whose couch were you
Aw.
in, Michael?
Thank you guys.
I thought you were perfect, Michael. I didn't know you had fear.
Oh
I
yeah.
thought you are like on in these meetings,
No,
just sort of sitting there.
no. There was plenty of fear to go around.
Thank you so much for sharing that and being open and honest with that. That's very beautiful. Very nice.
Any last comments or questions before we close out this evening?
Just a deep sense of gratitude to get to speak and share with you guys. It's cool. It's so cool. Yeah.
Paul,
Thank
write your Facebook in the chat real quick before we leave. I want to add you.
Yeah. Will do.
Can you say it? It's Paul Beyond, right? It's Beyond.
Yeah, Paul Beyond Limitation, but it comes up as Es la Verdad in Facebook and in brackets Paul Beyond Limitation.
Beautiful.
Because I kind of yeah. Oh crikey, yes.
Thank you guys. Have a great evening, everybody. Good night.
Yeah. Ciao.